You know, I was late to the party with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. By the time I started watching, it was such a big undertaking to go through like 10 full seasons just to catch up to where the show was. That was like 10 years ago. A lot of people describe It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia as crass.
Whoa, whoops, oh! I dropped my monster condom that I used for my Magnum Dong.
Dumb.
Look at that door, dude. See that door right there? One marked pirate. You think a pirate lives in there? See a door marked private?
Dark.
Roxy, God bless you. You were a good whore. You serviced me like no other whore ever did.
And ingenious. But the one thing people don't usually describe It's Always Sunny as is wholesome. And today, like my King of the Hill video, we're going to talk about the most wholesome episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Let's get started. Alright, starting with number 5, we're going to go with when Dee has the baby. There is an entire season dedicated to Dee being pregnant, and at the season finale, she finally had the baby. And at the beginning of this episode, she mentions that one of the gang is the father. The whole episode is spent by the male members of the gang just trying to figure out which one of them actually is the father, and rounding up everybody who could potentially be the father. All of them end up rounded up at the hospital together, and then Dee comes out with her brand new baby, and the show kind of just pauses for a moment. I think this is one of the earlier wholesome moments. It definitely does get a little better from here, but they have some early seasons that are really, really dark. Next up, we got the obvious choice, Mac's interpretive dance. This was the season finale to season 13, where Mac finally, after seasons and seasons of going back and forth between his sexuality, finally comes to the conclusion that he is in fact gay. And he attempts to convey that to his father in prison with a dance. It actually ends up affecting Frank instead. And that could be its own wholesome moment, to be honest.
I get it.
But let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is from the episode The Gang Gets Analyzed, which is one of probably the most popular episodes of the entire show. And this wholesome moment is for Frank. The gang ends up going to a psychologist for some reason to determine who should be doing the dishes that day.
More at play here than just
Dishes!
So you want me to just tell you who's
Dishes.
You are a severely dysfunctional group.
Yeah. All of the members kind of go through their own little interview scene with the psychologist, which is hilarious on its own. But Frank's is the most memorable, at least to me. But it's kind of the most wholesome, or at least when he has a moment.
She died 2 weeks later. She thought she was a spaceman with a plastic bag for a helmet.
Okay, maybe this isn't necessarily the most wholesome, but it's one of the most emotional episodes for Frank, at least. During his talk with the psychologist, he ends up going back into some of his repressed memories about growing up in a nut house for children.
I was shanghaied upstate to a nitwit school. You know what a nitwit school is?
I assume you mean a school for the mentally disabled.
It's a really messed up story. Honestly, it was kind of hard to find any of these moments for Frank of all of the characters. There's like a few for everybody else, but this is what I got.
You unzipped me. It's all coming back. It's all coming back. I hate you. It's all coming back, you understand? I don't like it. I don't like to think about it.
So let's move on to number 2. Number 2 is from the most recent episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and it's about Charlie's deadbeat dad. Basically, the gang ends up going to Ireland for like a few episodes. After many years of not knowing who his father actually is, Charlie finally meets his pen pal, who actually turns out to be his dad this whole time. And spoiler for season 15 if you don't want to hear this. Charlie's dad dies. In fact, it's kind of Dee who kills, I don't know, not really. She's a banshee. So as a sort of last rites sort of thing, Charlie has to carry his dad, who he got his body into a duffel bag for some reason, up the nearest mountain and toss him off a cliff.
Mountain, and then we're gonna chuck him over the side.
I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not doing it either. But not because I don't think it's awesome. I think it's totally awesome. I just am a little worried about my back.
So he tries to get the help of all the gang members, but One by one, they kind of end up letting him down and just get too frustrated with the whole experience. Until Charlie ends up just by himself. And it's at this point he kind of breaks down and has a realization of how much of a kind of deadbeat his dad was.
You never picked me up from school. You didn't read me bedtime stories. You didn't carry me on your shoulders. You didn't bounce me on me. You weren't there. And I needed you.
But what's extra special about this episode is that the rest of the gang ends up coming back and helping him to throw him off the cliff. Which is a really good ending, I think, for this season.
I'm so sorry. I killed your dad. But I'm even more sorry that we left you behind.
We should have never left you, buddy. We should have never left America.
Yeah.
And number one, which probably isn't the most wholesome, but it's my favorite because it's just so unique. Dennis gets the RPG. In this episode, the gang tends bar, like they actually work for the first time in the entire series, which is kind of funny. But anyway, in this episode, Dennis has everybody actually work for once. And unfortunately for some, it also seems to coincide with Valentine's Day. It's not until the end that we find out that Dennis is a little extra pissy today, because every year on Valentine's Day, nobody really gets him anything. Mac reminds him of the mysterious crate outside in the alley that he's been putting off the whole episode.
Yeah, I'm saying, why are we running out of the bar to look in some dumb crate?
Well, it's not about the crate. It's about the mystery of what's inside the crate that gets us.
The straw.
Might be worth checking out. And lo and behold, Dennis opens it to find the greatest gift he could have gotten. An RPG rocket launcher. I don't know why this is so funny, but it kind of perfectly explains the entire humor of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I don't think this joke could work in any other show. But it goes to show that this show isn't just really dark slapstick humor. It does have heart from time to time. And also has a lot of really good songs. So maybe next time I'll talk about the best songs in the series. Huh? That might be good. But anyway, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. You want to see another wholesome list? Check out my King of the Hill one. Thanks for watching.
Guys! Wow, the denim chicken, the bird with teeth, Verm hat's worm hat. I mean, I don't know what to say, man. This is just what I needed today.